Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing great, and I hope that God is protecting all of you. My name is Amito Mitra from Kampala, Uganda, East Africa, but currently living in
Michigan.
Michigan, United States of America. I know so many of you expected Honey to say Ohio. Shame on you.
That's the easy answer.
Anyway, we left Ohio about 2 weeks ago and we've been living in Michigan. Unfortunately, we've not been in position to give you more and more content because the weather was not favorable for us. It's been very cold here in Michigan. It's been raining almost every day. There is a time it snowed, I think last week, and then it rained with
Cold, cloudy.
hailstorms, I think yesterday but one.
Yeah, we even had a little hail.
Yeah, and it's really not been favorable for especially me. Honey is used, but I am not. So I've been indoors most of the times. Though in the night, I'm someone different. We've been going out with my love and his sister. We are actually at his sister's place. She's hosting us. She's been hosting us for the past 2 weeks, Grace. And
this has been an opportunity for you two to really get to know each other.
Exactly. Yeah, we've just been meeting in the past, her coming home and us having short conversations. But this time around, we got to know each other better, and I'm really grateful that we did this. Maybe we wouldn't have gotten to know each other better like we do right now. So Grace has really been of help. She's been taking us out every evening. We've gone for trivia. I personally, Grace and I went for a band. It's called Tank and the Bangers. Yeah, they had a concert, I think, last week, and it was really fun somewhere in Detroit. And yeah, I've really been having a good time with her. She's been taking me to her friends. She's been taking me to church. Grace, I know you're watching. Thank you. We love you so much. Anyway, in today's video, we're not talking about Grace. We are talking about the gentleman you see seated right next to me. And today, I'm going to be very hard on him.
Uh-oh. I think I'm prepared for that.
I'm joking. But I'm going to be asking him questions. It's sort of a podcast, something like we're just going to have conversations. He's going to tell us about him. So many of us have been watching him, and all we know is Steve is Amito's husband, and that's all.
Period.
But today, we need to know him better, right? We need to know him better since he's now part of our channel. He's always appearing. Even when you don't want him to appear, he sneaks himself into the videos.
No, that's not me.
Anyway, I'm joking, but I'm going to be asking my husband a few questions, and he'll be answering. And in case you also have some other questions, you can write them in the comment section down below, and maybe we will do a part 2, who knows. Yeah, so honey, are you ready?
I'm very ready. Hit me with your best shot.
He doesn't know what I'm going to ask him, surprisingly. Anyway, I have a few questions that I've written down to ask you, but I want you to start with telling us about yourself. Who are you?
Sure. I'm Steve, born and raised in Southwest Ohio, 32, family of 5, 2 parents, 3 children. I just feel very grateful. I've lived a privileged life in many aspects. Obviously, the dwarfism has been a factor in my life. We've had pets growing up. We've known our neighbors. We have most of our relatives were in Ohio as I was growing up. Yeah, just overall very blessed, as Amito would say.
Did you go to school?
Of course. Yeah, went through K through 12 as they call it, and then got a bachelor's degree after that. Traveled out of state for school, and that was a good experience, I think. I would recommend that if it's something that's an option for you, because at that age in your life, it's good to fly the coop and just try and explore on your own a little bit.
Everyone knows that my husband has dwarfism, and it is something we are not shy about. Him and I are not shy about.
One of my favorite sayings is, and it doesn't really mean much, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. So the people watching us may want to know, you said you have siblings, family of 5, 2 parents, 3 children. Tell us about your other siblings. I do know, but they don't know.
Yeah, so I guess as it relates to dwarfism, you might want to start with the genetic aspect. There are hundreds of types of dwarfism. The variety that I have is the most common. It's called achondroplasia. One time I heard a statistic that said 1 in 20,000 births. I'm not sure how true that is, but it is, I think, most commonly acquired as a genetic mutation. So just it shows up randomly in nature. That is how my mother was born with her dwarfism, whereas I, excuse me, inherited mine because achondroplasia, that condition specifically, is passed on through a dominant gene. So if a parent of yours has it, there's a high likelihood. You have to sort of get into probabilities at that point, but maybe like a 50-50 chance that your child could have it. And then my dad, he has a different form of dwarfism, dystrophic. That is passed on in a recessive gene or something like that. I'm not an expert, but also in his case, yeah, not really any trace of that in his family per se. It just kind of cropped up, and then, of course, my sisters are both of average height. So you can imagine two parents with dwarfism, three children, two of them with average height. It really made for a lovely family upbringing. We were never, what is that? So we never shied away from this notion of adversity. And even though, that may have been one aspect of our life, we were very privileged and blessed in many other ways. Um, you know, white, American, middle income. So I do count my blessings, and I consider myself, well, this is probably, I would hope, easy for most of you to believe, but I can even oftentimes forget that I even have dwarfism because I just don't think about it. I see myself as a very normal person. I'm fortunate in that it doesn't affect me maybe as severely, or the things I do in life just allow me to proceed um, unhindered for the most part. So, uh, yeah, I would say it has not been a hugely defining factor in many ways, but then, of course, in other ways, there are things that you can't really ignore, I guess you would say.
Thank you. Honey, how was it growing up in a family where you have two siblings who are both of average heights and you are the only one with dwarfism? How was it at home? How was it at school during your, I don't know, primary? What is it for you?
Sure, yeah.
What is it called? Primary here? Like the
The
primary level?
elementary school.
Elementary
Hmm.
school. Is it elementary school? Like someone is
First through
10
eighth grade.
years or 12?
Yeah, that would be elementary.
Okay. Yeah, so how was it? How was it through
Or maybe that would
school,
be middle school. I don't know.
middle school, and then university? Like, tell us about growing up, really.
Yeah, to answer the first part of your question, as it relates to a family upbringing, a lot of that would come down to the order of children. So I am the middle child. I have an older sister, then it's me, then I have a younger sister. And as I mentioned, neither my older sister nor my younger sister have dwarfism. So um, I think that helped my parents even more, just treat us all kind of the same. And I think that's what was for the best. And then as far as like the school thing goes, that would be one of the aspects, as I mentioned previously, about sometimes, despite other ways that it doesn't feel like much, things can be hard to ignore. That would be the school part where it's mostly other people that remind me that I have dwarfism, or um, trying to convince me that I should feel some type of way because of my condition. But my parents did such a great job of instilling confidence and just self worth in me, and I think a big part of that is accomplished through education, just teaching your child, making sure that they're learned, well spoken, and that helps them carry themselves too. Of course, it hasn't always been easy, and I remember uh, real early on, let's say I was, yeah, maybe 8 or 10 or something like that, at that elementary school, perhaps you'd be at recess, and then older kids would walk through the schoolyard, and then somebody who's, let's say, 16 or 17, specifically seeking me out to give me a hard time. Of course, that wasn't fun, and when you're really young, it's hard to understand and to sort of digest that experience. But I did a pretty good job of just surrounding myself with people who, of course, treated me fairly and just like anybody else, and that I could have fun with, and so that helped. Yeah.
Did you ever go to school, to the same school with your siblings? And how was it? Okay, first answer that question. Did you ever go to school with your siblings, like same school with your siblings?
Yeah, so my older sister is 1 year older than me, and my younger sister is 3 years younger than me. So I didn't, for the most part, see my younger sister hardly ever. I think in high school maybe I was a senior and she was a freshman, but I don't remember that we saw each other too much. But then my older sister, oftentimes we would be maybe down the hallway from each other or just at the same school, carpooling together, that kind of thing. And so you'd probably have to ask her to get her take on the whole thing, but uh, you know, we, to be honest, we didn't have a lot of similar interests. Boy, girl, sports, arts, just different paths in life, you might say. So I would think, for the most part, we kind of kept to ourselves and our friends. So I wouldn't say there was a ton of crossover, but everything was always amicable. And of course, when we got home, it was talking about our day.
I ask that because you know how like you can have a younger or an older sibling in the same school, and in case somebody is trying to bully you, they can sometimes come in to protect you and all. So did Beth at any one moment protect you, or were you ever in any position where the two of you together, and then someone is trying to make you feel some type of way, and then she comes in to like protect you?
It was such a long time ago, it's hard for me to say specifically, but I don't remember having a lot of trouble with bullying outright. I did give that one example, but to this day, I think that's one of the few that comes to mind. And I think the reason that one stuck out to me specifically is because it was kind of a drive-by situation. It wasn't as if I was classmates with this person and could confront them. They were so much older than me, and it was such a fleeting interaction. But in classrooms, I didn't have a hard time standing up for myself, whether it was, physically to some extent, but even verbally. And so I think just not seeking trouble out, but then also if trouble tried to find me, standing my ground, I think that helped me manage quite well. I would say it was more of friends who would stick up for me because never was I in the same class with my older sister, so I don't think there was a lot of opportunities for her to have stood in, but I think she probably had, comments or something like that potentially in her grade, but she never told me about them, so it's hard for me to say what her experience was wholly.
Did you at any one moment feel like maybe your parents were uh, treating you differently or better than your other siblings because of your condition?
No, absolutely not. My parents, yeah, they are shining examples of what I would hope to be as a parent one day. They definitely made sure that I felt self worth, but that I also didn't have an ego about me. So part of that is making sure that you treat all your children fairly, and I don't remember exactly how it's defined, but there's that notion of treating people equally or treating people with equality, where it's like just because you don't treat each other the exact same doesn't mean you're not trying to make sure that they all have a similar experience, something like that. And so they did a great job at that, just not trying to have any of us hold anything against the other. I think we all felt pretty cohesive as a unit.
Yeah. What were your hobbies growing up? What are the things you loved to do as a child?
Oh, sure. Yeah, easily the first thing that comes to mind is creativity, artwork in whatever fashion that may be. I took a number of extracurricular art lessons, piano lessons, played trumpet, um, For one season, I was a stagehand in like the theater productions. So just love to be creative in whatever way that might strike me.
Was there anything you loved to do, but because of your dwarfism, you failed to do it, but you really wished you would do it?
Yeah, so that shows up in interesting ways. I don't think being short necessarily makes you any less competent as a swimmer, at least given my condition. But for whatever reason, I was a late. I learned how to swim later on in life and had a fear of water in the very beginning, but eventually I got over that. I think I would have been a huge athlete had I not had dwarfism. Um, I think there was a couple of stories nationwide about how someone with dwarfism could go on to be like a wrestler. Like there was some sports where maybe it wouldn't affect you very much, but by and large, it kind of prevents you from excelling in most sports. So I'd like to think. I don't know. It's hard to say. Baseball, basketball, probably the usual suspects of things that would have been fun to. You know what? A lot of my friends were in cross country running, so I probably would have ended up there as well. So, for a few years, I was actually the manager of the football team. So I think just as a way to stay connected with friends and the school at large, there was other ways that I got involved.
By football, you mean the American football?
American football, yeah.
Okay. You were manager?
Yeah, whatever that means. I don't.
You didn't tell me.
I think it was. I think it was a ceremonial role more than anything. But getting to ride around on the bus to the games and giving people pep talks. The funny anecdote I have about that situation was just encouraging the team. You know, if we pull off this victory, I'll do 50 push-ups as soon as we score the W or whatever. And sure enough, we did. And sure enough, I did. And I remember there was a lot of celebration after that.
Sorry. Do I continue?
Sure. Everybody
I'm
burps.
sorry about that. So, you graduated, right? After graduation, what was your life like?
Well, I think my thought was the same as most people's, where it's now time to hit the ground running, get some life experience. And so for me, that meant finding a job, getting an apartment with a friend. And when you're at that age, you know, you're early, mid-20s, you sort of don't have a care in the world. You don't really care so much, at least I didn't, about the trajectory of things. I really just wanted to let loose and have fun. And thankfully, I think I did that. And I'm glad I did, because I think that's something that we should all experience in life, a little bit of just that, I don't know if I would say recklessness, but just that carefree lifestyle. And, we were happy, we were healthy, we were doing fun things. And then, at some point I realized that the career I was doing was mostly just to make ends meet, and it wasn't really the best fit for me. So then I did, a few years down the road, switch careers, and it's what I do now, and I feel very fortunate and fulfilled, and that kind of gets us to the present day. I was doing the same thing when I met Amito.
Let me take you back to school. Back home in Uganda, where I come from, graduation is a very big deal. Like when you graduate, okay, I'll tell my story. When I graduated, my parents, if you ever watched our wedding on this channel, if you've not, kindly go and watch it. So you see how big that wedding was?
Yeah.
That's the same way my graduation was.
Oh wow, no kidding. Pulling out all the stops. Yeah.
Yeah, so my graduation, like our graduations are a very big deal. So my parents, I would say my mom, because my dad had passed on already. My mom really threw a very big party for me. Family, relatives came, friends. And so back to you. I just wanted to find out, did your parents celebrate you? Is it a thing for American parents to celebrate their children's graduation?
Oh,
like
yeah.
have a party? Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had a huge graduation party.
Oh,
I remember we
really?
got a big tent that gets set up in the backyard
No way.
and invited, I don't know, 100 people. Yeah.
Ah, nice.
It wasn't really, there wasn't a ton of decoration. It was more of just about getting people together to almost like a big reunion or something. And of course, there was good food and some yard games.
Okay. So fast forward to your relationship. You meet, I mean, you get to know this love of your life, start talking to her, you're feeling butterflies in your stomach. At what point did you talk to the people around you about this relationship? And who were the first people you told about the relationship? And what were their reactions? What did they, what did they say? Did they discourage you? Did they encourage you? What was it like?
So I think thankfully I have a lot of balanced, intelligent people in my life. So they weren't, tripping over themselves head over heels to say I should, pursue this with every fiber of my being. But at the same time, they weren't, pushing back. They were just listening. They were saying, "Oh, this is interesting. Tell me more." And have you thought about this and that? And yeah, I appreciate that having those kind of people in my life. For the most part, people were supportive, and I didn't know exactly where the whole thing was going to go. So by the time I actually traveled over there, I mean, that's a pretty good indication that things were getting serious. And then um, I think everybody wanted to know, what was your experience like? And thankfully, it was nothing but good things. So,
You didn't answer the question. Who was the first person you told about your relationship?
well, at the time that we first started talking, I was spending a lot of time with my cousin Will, and he would have been the first person that I talked to at length. About you?
So Will, if you're watching, just know you loved so much, because by the time he's telling you before telling his parents and his siblings. So tell us about when you told your parents and your siblings and what their honest reaction was.
Well, if we go back to our how we met story, we were talking for about a month until we started dating. So I would say it was about the time that we started dating that I really made it known that this is someone important in my life, and yeah, they were interested, and they just were receptive.
Do you think your parents were worried for you, given that this is an African girl very far away from you? Do you think do you think they were worried?
They had questions. No, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but they weren't resisting in a major way. They weren't scared. I wouldn't use the word skeptical. They just wanted me to, be cautious and mindful, like any loving parent would. And they gave me the freedom and the support to pursue this relationship, which ultimately became my marriage. So I'm grateful for that.
I love the fact that American children have the power to sit their parents down and tell them about somebody that they are dating. Because where I come from, your parents only sees your man when there is hope for marriage. Because I mean, like, you're scared, like those are conversations we are scared to talk to our parents about. Anyway, my mom was quite exceptional. She really tried to make me her friend and tell her about things, but still I was holding back. I was like, I wouldn't, the reason as why I took long telling my mom about my husband was I was worried. I was like, what if it doesn't work out? How do I now tell her that, you remember the guy I told you about, we broke up? So the fear of making my mom be worried about me, how I think parents are built differently. I'm sure they would really worry about knowing that their daughter or their son got into a relationship and it didn't work out.
Right.
They would be asking so many questions. Is my daughter the problem? Is my son the problem? What could have gone
What
wrong?
happened?
And it worries them. So I never wanted to
Don't
put,
want to put that on them.
yeah, on my mom. So when you told me that you had told your parents about the relationship, not even the hope to get married, but the relationship, I was like, okay. And at that time, I hadn't told my mom about you, but yeah, I just wanted to say I'm really grateful for the fact that American parents are listening, are understanding. I hope our parents become that way as well. I hope they understand that it's okay for a girl to come or a boy to come and tell you that, you know what, mom, dad, there is this going on between me and this person. In case it doesn't work out, it's okay.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
case it works out, it's perfect.
Sometimes things don't work out, and that's okay.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that African parents can have that open mind. I know I'm not the only one. Comment down below, my African sisters and brothers, if you have found it very hard to talk to your parents about your relationship or relationships. Anyway, so yeah, fast forward, get married. Okay, tell us, when you told them that you were going to marry, when you were going to marry this girl, what were their reactions?
Well, if I think back on the timeline, I mean, that was. Yeah, it happened pretty fast, so I can
Yeah.
imagine that they were probably,
Worried.
as you know, open and loving as they were probably a bit concerned. Like, wow, things are moving fast. I hope this all works out. And thankfully, they put their trust in me, and it all worked out in the end. But I'm sure they were a bit. They had some questions.
I would have been worried too if I was your parent. Because imagine getting to know someone in 2023, and at the end of 2023, you want to go and see this person's parents. I would equally be worried. And then the other thing that I think would have worried me as your parent was, you have just told me about this person that you're seeing, and then 3 months later you're on the flight to go and see them, just like that. So any parent would be worried with a lot that is going on in the world. What if something happens to my son? What if they never make it back home? Like, a lot is happening in this world. So
It's really a unique situation that we found ourselves in. I don't
yeah.
think many people in life experience something like that, where you have to make every moment count with someone who's on the other side of the globe. So.
Yeah. So I think at the time when you accepted, you said you were coming to Uganda, was the time I told my mom about you. I was
Wow.
like, oh, mom, there is this person I've been seeing for a few months now. My mom can ask questions. She sat down and started asking me questions. Since when? What?
Who, what,
This?
when, where,
Who?
why?
Where? Yeah, how? But yeah, I did answer all the questions, and I told her he is coming in like a month from now, blah, blah, blah. And she was very, very happy for me. Yeah. Anyway, it's about you. Why am I even intervening?
Reminiscing. Oh, I love that.
So, when I posted a wedding video, or when my wedding, my husband and I's African wedding went viral, I got so many people reaching out to me, and amongst them were mothers that are having children with dwarfism. They reached out to me and they're like, oh, Amito would really have like want to talk to you or to your husband about some things. I have my child, I have my son, my daughter, they have dwarfism, and I have hidden them away from the society. My child is homeschooling because I'm afraid of what people will say. Some family members don't even know my child because I am worried about what they are going to talk about my child. So I would like you to talk to parents out there who have children with dwarfism, and then also talk to other mates out there that are having dwarfism. Yeah, give them an encouraging word or two.
Sure. I think I've mentioned this perhaps in a previous video, where my difficulty in life, my condition, is very apparent, and that's the hand I was dealt. Some people, whether it's I don't know, diabetes or a learning disability, you might not see it at first glance, and it would take longer for you to know that it's there. But I do think that adversity is something that follows around most of us, and the way my family and I have always looked at it is that adversity helps refine, it helps define your character, and it's an opportunity for you to grow. It's an opportunity for you to surmount challenges and come out a stronger person. So I would say, in that sense, if you find yourself someone with dwarfism, or you know someone who does, um, just treat them the same way you would treat anybody else, because we all have something, and yeah, I think that's what I would say.
I would also like to tell people out there that having dwarfism doesn't make you less of a person, right?
Of course, to your example about perhaps a mother who is shying her child away from the world, the first thought that I have is, what is that child going to think when they come of an age where they can understand what's happening? I think first and foremost in a family unit is this notion of unconditional love, and so I have a lot of questions about the relationship of that parent and their child. Of course, perhaps they're trying to do it from a place of love, but I think with a deeper look at themselves and at the situation at large, they may realize that what that child needs is to be accepted and cared for, and not, not shied away.
So, honey, I want you to know that in the US, I think it is something that Americans have accepted. Like, we can be different, but the same, right? So they respect people, they will respect you and all that. But where I come from, like, we have
Right.
very many educated but illiterate people
Yeah, yeah.
who will see somebody who was born in a certain way and make fun of them. So I understand where some of these parents are coming from, like hiding their children and all that. Of course, it's not the right thing to do, but the society back home is so harsh. Mm. I'll tell you my own experience maybe someday when it is your turn to ask me questions. But the little that I can say is when I married you, I got so many people that do not even know me on a personal level, that maybe didn't even knew, is that right English?
No, yeah.
That didn't even know I existed, but were so hard on me. People started saying things like, oh, you are marrying him for the money, you are marrying him because he's white and you want citizenship, you are marrying him for this and that and the other.
So, if I may jump in here,
Yeah.
what I have to ask myself is, are those people truly happy? Do they have people in their life that really care for them and see them for who they are? I think if you are living such a superficial life, even if it's just the way the culture is, there must be a hollow feeling on the inside. And if there's not, well, that's just ignorance, because you're missing out on a whole nother way of living that is so fulfilling, and it's so enriching to surround yourself with people who see beyond the physical.
Yeah, I just hope that the Ugandan and African, I think it's an African thing. I pray that maybe the government does a lot of sensitization to people and let them know that, like, not everyone is going to be the same. I mean, if we were all the same, we all looked the same, we all did the same things, this world wouldn't be a better place. It wouldn't be this beautiful. But because we are different, we think differently, we look differently, the world is a better place. So you have to, you know, appreciate people the way they are, respect them, because I mean, it is not something that they put on themselves. They were born like that. Like, nobody in this world says, oh, now I want to get into this world as a little person, I want to, have this, we just find ourselves in those situations. The best you can do is be kind to these people. People like my husband may be okay with it because, I mean, he knows how to handle such people, but there will be children like the ladies that reached out to me that have their children locked up in their houses doing homeschooling away from other children, that cannot contain it. But if you try to show love to people and make them feel in place, then we'll make this world a better place and everyone will be happy with who they are.
Yeah, another word on that is, as a thought experiment, perhaps for the people who find themselves, um, you know, easily willing to judge. Instead of looking at the differences between you and I, or this person and that person. Try and imagine the similarities. What do you think that we could have in common, and what do you think that unites us as members of the human race, as grand as that sounds?
Yeah. Anyway, we didn't want this to be this long. It's already long. But if you have any other questions that have not asked my amazing husband, kindly put them in the comment section, and maybe we will do part 2. And another thing, honey, I don't know if you've been reading the comments, but people love your voice. I always tell you have an amazing voice.
Sure, I've seen that.
And
I can't take credit. It was the way I was made.
And they keep saying that you should have a podcast. Podcasts. So, are you thinking about that?
Yes. Could I run an idea by your audience?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking almost as a form of ASMR, of doing some kind of spoken word or narration podcast themed approach, because we have enough of people sitting down and just chat. So yeah, if you think it would be more about the soothing nature of a podcast, let me know if you think that could work. A sleep aid, almost something to relax you, perhaps as you wake up or before you go to bed.
I personally would listen to you all day, all night, because I've never met anyone with a very nice voice, beautiful voice, handsome voice like yours.
Well, luckily you're married to it, so.
Anyway, it's getting cold. The heat has stopped. I don't know.
I think we have to say our goodbyes. We're about to turn into popsicles.
It's becoming very cold. We are so grateful that you sat here and watched us or listened to us. We really appreciate you. May God bless you all abundantly. And we cannot wait to see you in the next video. We love you a lot. You guys are amazing.
Heaps and heaps.
Yeah. And I say goodbye to them.
Thank you for spending the time with us. We can't wait to see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, evening. And until then.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.